10 African countries with the biggest gold reserves. Hello and welcome to our channel. It pleases us to know how interested you are to know about the beautiful continent, Africa. You're doing awesome. Gold has been the highest mineral rich in value and exchange rate. Considering the fact that some countries are unaware of the presence of gold in their terrains, a lot more of others have solely taken that to increase their gross domestic product. It effectively conducts heat and electricity. It is also the softest, most malleable, and ductile of the elements. An ounce equates to 31.1 grams. Gold is measured in troy ounces and may be hammered out into incredibly thin sheets known as gold leaf that can cover an area of 187 square feet, about 17 square meters. Africa is rich in nature and ranks the third gold-producing continent in the world despite recent exploitations in the past years. As many as these gold reserves are, let's talk about the top 10 African countries with the biggest gold reserves. Ready to learn something new? Click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to get updates on our recent uploads. Thank you for your support. Here you go, trust me, number 1 will shock you. Number 10, Libya. According to IMF data, Libya, which is the 10th biggest gold producer in Africa, has reserves of 4.6 million ounces, or roughly 144 tons. The worth is over $6 billion at the current market pricing. There are 20 nations with greater gold holdings. However, all of them, with the exception of Lebanon, are significantly wealthier or have greater populations. Libya's gold reserves were unchanged at 116.64 tons in the third quarter of 2022 from the second quarter. Recent research has been done on estimated 3.5 billion metric tons of iron ore reserves in the Libyan Sahara, which might offer steelmaker Lisco, the Libyan Iron and Steel Company, with a domestic source of iron ore. Approximately 1,000 kilometers south of Tripoli, in the Wadi Ash-Shadi region, a French study group discovered mineralized iron ore deposits through exploratory drilling, according to a 2010 Steel Business Briefing report. 3 mining projects and iron ore mines were located in Libya. The Middle East and North Africa (MENA) region's mineral-rich soil is still mostly unexplored, according to the source. As the nation works to lessen its reliance on oil economically, mining in Libya may someday overtake oil production as a major economic sector. The untapped gold in Libya makes it rank among the continent's gold-rich nations. Number 9, Burkina Faso. The fastest-growing gold producer in Africa is Burkina Faso, which ranks 5th overall in Africa. While the government received $300 million in revenue from large-scale commercial mining by foreign firms, it is believed that 3 million people are employed and indirectly supported by informal mining. Its gold mining business has expanded gradually over the past 10 years thanks to one of the most active mining sectors in the area, which contains significant resources of copper, zinc, limestone, manganese, and phosphate, among other minerals. The roughly 440 gold mining locations in Burkina Faso have resulted in the employment of more than 430,000 individuals, serving as a major source of income for a significant section of the population. The largest gold mines in the nation include those at Kalsaka, Yuga, Karma, Mana, Yaramoko, Taparka Borum, Essakane, and Anada. Burkina Faso gold production was reported at 58,375 kilograms in December 2020, increasing from the previous figure of 51,406 kilograms for December 2019. Number 8, Egypt. Filled with many historical tourist sites, gold reserves in Egypt average 77.92 tons from 2000 until 2022. Reaching an all-time high of 125.31 tons in the third quarter of 2022 and a record low of 75.58 tons in the second quarter of 2016. A report issued by the World Gold Council a few days ago indicated that the Central Bank of Egypt, CBE, bought 44 tons of gold last February, bringing its total holdings by 55% and up to 125.3 tons, which is equivalent to 19.4% of the total Egyptian reserves. Reports indicated that Egypt is working to increase domestic gold production in the long term through the Sukari mine and others. But the decline in the foreign exchange component within the reserves may mean that the country has resorted to international markets to buy quantities of gold. The value of gold recorded in the foreign exchange reserves of the Central Bank of Egypt decreased by about $210 million during April on a monthly basis. According to central bank data published on its website, the value of gold recorded in foreign exchange reserves amounted to about $7.597 billion at the end of last April, compared to about $7.807 billion at the end of March. Egypt mines its gold from the Nile River, with some mines located as far as 800 miles south of Cairo. Number 7. Algeria. In 2021, Algeria recorded the largest gold leading in Africa, but due to a decrease in the production of 286 kilograms in 2018 as compared to 58 kilograms in 2020, recording a decrease in 228 kilograms. Gold reserves in Algeria remained unchanged at 173.56 tons in the third quarter of 2022 from 173.56 tons in the second quarter of 2022. Algeria's gold reserves were reported at $270.494 billion in May 2017. This records an increase from the previous number of $267.895 billion for April. Algeria's gold data reached an all-time high of $321.333 billion in March 2008 and a record low of $5.7 billion in December 1966. Reserves data is updated monthly, averaging $252.167 billion from December 1950 to May 2017, with 682 observations. Number 6. Nigeria. Nigeria's gold deposit is thought to be 200 million metric tons, according to the Nigeria Mining Growth Roadmap, which indicates that the country's gold market has significant potential. With an average of 21.37 tons from 2000 to 2020 and an all-time high of 21.46 tons in the first half of 2021, Nigeria is ranked as the 6th largest gold-producing nation in Africa by Trading Economics. The estimated gold reserves of the country are more than 200 million ounces, the majority of which have not been used. The third quarter of 2022 saw no change in Nigeria's gold reserves from the second quarter, which stood at 21.37 tons. The strength and health of Nigeria's economy are significantly influenced by its gold reserves. Nigeria has one of the world's largest gold reserves, making up around 5% of all gold reserves, with an estimated 21.46 metric tons in reserves for 2022. Nigeria's gold reserves are becoming more crucial for the economy of the country as gold prices continue to increase. Nigeria still has 21.46 tons of gold in its reserves. This is lower than the previous quarter's total of 21.62 tons, but still higher than the 21.37 tons registered at the same time last year. According to Nigerian Gold's most recent quarterly report, the decline in reserves occurred despite an increase in gold production. Nigeria's gold reserves were reported at $1.406 billion in April 2021, recording an increase from the previous number of $1.402 billion in March 2021. Its gold reserves data is updated monthly, averaging $2.388 billion from December 1950 to April 2021, with 725 observations. Number 5. Morocco. Morocco's gold reserves are estimated at 22.12 metric tons and are the 5th largest in Africa, according to the German database Statistics. Moroccan gold reserves have notably stabilized at the 22.12 metric tons mark since the second quarter of 2022, marking an increase of 0.01 metric tons from the first quarter of 2018. Currently, the Moroccan mining sector represents 10% of the national GDP, with 90% of revenues coming from phosphates. The reservoir spans more than 2.2 kilometers and 3 zones. a B and C, with the last one recording significant levels of gold that reach up to 5.81 grams of gold per ton of material per 4 meters. As of 2019, Moroccan gold production reached 390,000 kilograms annually, according to CEIC. Morocco's gold reserves were reported at $1.251 billion in November 2022. This records an increase from the previous number of $1.167 billion for October 2022. Morocco gold reserves data is updated monthly, averaging $31.102 billion from January 1960 to November 2022, with 755 observations. Number 4. Mali. Following South Africa, Ghana, and Sudan, Mali is the continent's fourth largest producer of gold, with roughly 13 mines run by international firms like Barrick Gold, B2 Gold, and Resolute Mining, recording 63.7 tons of gold. Gold extraction has occurred in Mali from ancient times using simple implements before the modern mechanized system came into practice. Gold is by far Mali's most important export, comprising more than 80% of total exports in 2021. Gold represents the country's most important export, accounting for nearly 10% of its GDP. The country is home to approximately 350 artisanal gold mining sites, with more than 2 million people. Over 10% of the country's population is dependent on the mining sector as a primary source of income. On to number 3, Sudan. Gold smuggling is a persistent issue in Sudan. It is estimated that between 50% and 80% of Sudan's gold is smuggled out of the country. Notwithstanding the weakness, Sudan still succeeds to record an increase in gold production with more than 18 tons produced in 2022. This marks the highest productivity in the country's mineral sector history. Mining in the East African country contributes approximately 4% to the country's GDP, with gold serving as the primary driver. Gold is mainly found in the Ariab region of the Nuba Mountains, as well as in the Obaidiyah, Blue Nile, and North Kordofan regions, where quartz vein formation occurs. Notable gold mines in Sudan include the Hassai Gold Mine and the Block 14 Open Pit Mine project, which are located in the Red Sea Hills Desert and the Nubian Desert, respectively. Sudan gold production was reported at 90,000 kilograms in December 2020. Sudan gold production data is updated yearly, averaging 5,671 kilograms from December 1990 to 2020, with 31 observations. Number 2, South Africa. The southern African nation is home to 86 gold mines in total, including the Witwatersrand Basin, the greatest gold deposit in the world. Despite declining production in recent years that caused the nation to relinquish its top ranking to China in 2006. The South Deep Gold Mine has the greatest deposits, and the world's deepest gold mine, Mponeng, is located in the nation. South Africa still has the second largest gold resource base in the world, making it the second largest in Africa, according to estimates, and fresh exploration missions have just been started to boost production even more. This is despite the nation's declining production. Johannesburg and Ekurhuleni are South Africa's well-exploited gold mines. Its gold reserves were reported at $7.102 billion in November 2022, recording an increase from the previous number of $6.604 billion for October 2022. South Africa gold reserves data remains active status and is reported by CEIC, Canada Employment Insurance Commission. Number 1, Ghana. Presently, Ghana ranks as the 6th country in the world and leads in Africa in producing gold, with the country's gold production amounting to a total of 117.6 tons in 2021. Comprising roughly 90% of the West African country's total mineral exports and 49% of its total export value. Ghana is considered one of the most prolific regions of gold discoveries in the world, with its Bibiani Shear Zone hosting multi-million-ounce gold deposits. Its gold production was reported at 130,000 kilograms in December 2021, with yearly updated data averaging 72,154 kilograms from December 1990 to 2021, with 32 observations. This data remains active status in CEIC and is reported by U.S. Geological Survey and categorized under the World's Trend Pluses Association. And that's it for the top 10 African countries with the biggest gold reserves. Thanks for watching. To get more notifications and know about Africa, do not forget to subscribe to this channel and as well hit the notification bell. See you next time.